Well, hello everybody. Check local listings if it's morning or afternoon where you're at. I'm Neil Weber, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Starin. And I am very excited to be here today where our special guests are from Revo Labs in our town hall, where you get the opportunity to ask them any question, anything that you've ever wanted to ask the good people at Revo Labs. You can ask them that now. And for some reason, after we put them through all of this, they still allow us to sell their product, believe it or not. So I'm very proud. In a moment, you're going to get to hear from my partner, Melissa Dillman, our Market Development Manager. She's going to be our moderator and fielding your questions. So very soon you'll get to hear from her. I would start putting your questions in the chat window now because we're already getting quite a few of them, and we want to make sure that we get to all of them, and we will get to all of them today. But first, hey, let's hear from our special guests from Revo Labs that you may see on your screen. We've got Mike Fitch and Holger Stoltz. I'm going to have them introduce themselves and tell us who you are and what you do for Revo Labs.
Thank you so much, Neil. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for everybody joining. Both Holger and I are very appreciative of Starin for putting this on and the opportunity. So as Neil mentioned, my name is Michael Fitch. I'm the Vice President of Sales of North America. That includes the United States and Canada for Revo Labs, which now is a part of Yamaha, which most of you may be aware of. And as you see on the screen there, something we're very, very excited about. And a lot of very positive changes going on, and a lot of that you'll see in some upcoming shows at Enterprise Connect and InfoComm if you're attending. So very, very excited to answer all of your questions. Holger will actually be doing most of the speaking today. I'm just along for the ride, and I'll allow Holger to introduce himself. So thank you for joining.
Okay. Hello, so my name is Holger Stoltz. I am the Director of Product Management here at Revo Labs, Yamaha UC. Working on all of the exciting new products, as well have been working on the products for the last 7 years over here at Revo Labs. And as you know, a lot of exciting things happening right now with Yamaha CS-700, which actually is manufactured and built here at Revo Labs under the Yamaha brand, the first product which we are manufacturing under Yamaha brand, really being the newest member of our UC product family, right? So the audio only product, the UC 500, 1000, and 1500, and now with the CS-700 as the audio and video device. We are really very, very excited about that. And again, shipping, and so far the feedback which we are getting is really, really good from the market.
Well, we're very excited too. Thanks again for joining us. Remember today that one lucky, I was going to say viewer, attendee, one lucky viewer attendee can walk away with the Yamaha YAS 207. That's a soundbar with a subwoofer and remote included, and I'm sure it sounds ridiculously good, as the great Yamaha pedigree always sounds great. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, who's going to start with the questions that keep rolling in here. And keep your questions coming. Just type them into the chat window.
Hey, everybody. It's me again. Hi, guys. Great to have you here and to have you answer our questions. First question off the bat. Tell us, what are you using today to join us in this conference?
That's actually a great question. So this is actually a CS-700 in one of our huddle rooms, which we are using here. So it is a CS-700 both from the video perspective, and both Mike and I are actually sitting at the first seat closest to the wall in this room. So you see us using a CS-700 video camera, and you actually hear us using the CS-700 beamforming microphone array.
So the new CS-700 has had a ton of interest on our part, I know. I've had nothing but questions about it. So tell us what is new and exciting about the 700 that is new to your line, something different.
Okay, so I think the biggest difference, of course, to all of our other products is the video camera, right? So with the CS-700, we are actually providing the first product which is not only our very good and in the market really seen as very good audio. It also now has a video camera specifically built for the huddle room and the huddle space, meaning that we look for wide angle camera, being able to really get everybody in the room for a small size room and ensuring that the whole room is being covered. So that is one part which is completely new. The second part, which is also, or which we are very excited about, is the whole area of beamforming microarrays. So if you have seen us at some of our trade shows, this product actually has a world-class beamforming microarray as part of it, which really focuses crystal clear on the speaker, but is still able to switch quickly in the room between different speakers and actually understand how people are interacting in the room and adapting its behavior to it. So very excited both from a video and an audio perspective on this product.
Well, I gotta tell you, it looks good. It's sounding great, so that's awesome. You know, the next question I get 100% of the time is, when will my dealers and my customers be able to get their hands on it?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So obviously we understand this is a very eagerly anticipated product, and we appreciate for those of you who have put in orders. If there are some of you on this call, we certainly appreciate your patience. And some of you perhaps may have already received your CS-700. We've actually shipped over 1,000 globally so far. So yeah, you know, this is certainly not only in high demand just in North America. It's something that we're fighting back and forth for globally as well. So we started shipping in the beginning of January and have been steadily doing so far. Fortunately and unfortunately, depending on who you are, we opened up orders towards the end of last year and we received a couple thousand. So we are doing our best to backfill those orders. But so if you are waiting for a unit, we, myself, Holger, Staren, we're doing the best to fulfill all those orders. So we should have all those fulfilled within the next couple of weeks. And as orders continue to come in, we're doing the best we can to send them out the door. So, you know, if you haven't received yours yet, you are certainly on the list to come out next. So.
Excellent. I know everybody's excited about it. Here's a great question. How big of a room do you suggest is the perfect size room for the CS-700?
So the product is specifically designed to work in rooms which are about 12 feet long. So we say a room like this one has 5 chairs inside. So room 5 to 6 people inside of the room, that is about the right size for it. When I say it has been specifically designed for that, that's actually both the audio as well as the video has been designed to capture everything up to these 12 feet. So Microsoft talks about pixel per phase. The camera is being designed to provide that number of pixel per phase for people who are up to 12 feet away from the camera. From an audio pickup perspective, we built the microphone in a way that we are specifically focusing on areas closer to 12 feet and actually are trying to ignore sound and voices from further away to actually provide, again, the best audio pickup and the best audio experience.
That is perfect. One more question was, could you stand and talk from the back wall? Just to see what the beamforming sounds like. This is an interactive presentation.
That's the beauty of the town hall.
It's good, exactly. Usually I was supposed to walk left and right, so as you do in a town hall. So I'm actually at the end of our room right now, and interactively I'm counting the tiles on the ceiling. So I'm actually pretty much 10 feet away right now from the unit, and walking from one side of the room to the other side of the room. And my expectation would have been that you should not have seen any difference or heard any difference in the audio based on where I was.
Man, that sounds good.
That beamforming mic is sounding phenomenal in that you can be at the back of the room and move around like that and still sound like you're sitting there. That's fantastic. So,
yes, we run a lot of demos out of this room and get a lot of strange questions. People ask us to talk to the wall. People ask us to stand in the doorway and talk. People like to challenge the beamforming array, and it does a great job in all these different weird scenarios that people like to, that our lovely clients like to come up with and challenge us on.
So is there any chance by the end of this we can get you to cluck like a chicken? Just checking. All right.
Purely in the name of science.
Purely.
Here is another great question. It's one I hear a lot. So they just got out their unit And the question is, what about SIP capabilities? Where do
Good, very good question. So, as we have said, there's actually all in all 4 different versions of the CS-700, which we will release over time. So right now, the version that is available is what we call the AV audiovisual. So it has all of the features for audio and visual. We expect within the next 4 months, so let's say 4, is that the next few months, to actually be able to release the next version, which will be actually the SIP version. At that time, the CS-700, the ESP version of the product, will also support SIP stack inside, so it can actually become your SIP endpoint, telephone endpoint in the room. And with a dialer application, which will be available on Android as well as on iOS, you can actually then use the CS-700 as your telephone with the same audio experience as for your UC calls. So that is the next version to come out. A little bit later than that, we will then bring out the version which will have the display link functionality in it. And with the display link functionality, you actually are able to just have this one cable to the table environment where everything can go over the USB cable from your laptop or the device somebody brings in. And this one cable transports audio, video, as well as the screen content, which is being displayed on the display in the room.
Excellent. So in a few months, we'll be seeing the SIP version. Is that what I just heard?
That is what you heard, yes.
That's awesome. Another great question. Our attendees are phenomenal, so thank you guys very much for asking questions. Another quick question is, are you able to change the mic settings? I know that I've seen this in several units. There's a question of what kind of control do I have as far as adjusting the mics, maybe some DSP control. What's available through the 700 unit?
So the idea here, of course, is that this is a plug-and-play kind of device, which doesn't require a lot of AV knowledge or people knowing how to program a DSP and things like that. So we do give very limited control to an IT department to actually set up information or set up some things about the audio. On the microphone, that is actually only you can define high pass filters. So if you have a noisy room, if you have a room which has a lot of background noise or air conditioner or something like that, you can actually have a high pass filter to get rid of that noise. On the speaker side, we actually support several equalizers, a handful I should say, which allows you to go a little bit between what is more important for me. Do I like more the full sound of music? In that case, we give you a little bit more of a what we call bass boost. So really giving you more of the lower frequencies. Is it more important for me for the human voice, which gives us more in the middle frequency range? And then just for the fun of it, we gave one which is more in the high frequency range. Again, it depends on the specific way how people like to listen to it. But beyond that, we do not open up the DSP to free programming it. Again, as it is a plug-and-play device, it's supposed to just go on the wall and work.
Awesome. So something new for our attendees, if you've been to our other town halls, the fine friends here at Yamaha and Revo Labs, they not only want to engage with you, but they would like to ask you your opinion. So I'm going to launch a poll real quick. And if y'all could, give us an answer here to what value-added services do you require or prefer for huddle rooms? You're welcome to select all that apply. And if y'all could give us some feedback, let's see what y'all think about this. And while they're doing that, I have another quick question for you. And that is, a lot of our guys are familiar with the Flex UC 500, extremely popular product. Can you tell us when it's better to use the 500 versus using the 700, the UC 700?
Actually, a very, very good question. Of course, it's two different kind of products, right? So if you are really looking for the one and all product, which has camera and audio in it, that's only the CS-700, which comes to play. But the UC-500 is definitely the product which can be used in a huddle room where you want to use a different camera, or where you don't want to use the all-in-one product, where you want to have a motorized PTZ camera or something like that. That is where the UC-500 absolutely still comes in as the best audio device for these rooms. The UC-500 also is designed for a slightly larger room than this. So as the CS-700 is on the wall, it actually gives you more of that just one direction from the microphone, right? So when we are saying 12 feet in one direction, that's just 12 feet. The UC-500 is usually sitting in the middle of the table. So it actually allows you to cover a larger room. We typically say UC-500 is for 8 to 10 people. So the two use cases are huddle rooms where you do not want to go for the all-in-one product. The UC-500 should be your audio device. And for larger conference rooms, 8 to 10 people, absolutely the UC-500 should be your audio device.
Perfect. Okay, another quick question for you. And that is, what about DisplayPort? Is DisplayPort on the roadmap, or is there a dongle or a source for a dongle that you recommend? Can you give us some insight into that?
So DisplayPort is not on the roadmap right now, right? So the DisplayPort to HDMI or DisplayPort to whatever is what you get from Apple or whoever gives you the DisplayPort output today. The whole idea here really is the USB connectivity. So being able to go via USB into any kind of laptop. We, as a manufacturer, have to look for the new laptops, as well as have to think about what do companies do who have a renew cycle of laptops, which is only every 3 years, or there are actually some companies out there who will tell you every 5 years. Very old laptops at that time. But so we have to actually be able to live in that environment. So we need to be able to go with new ones as well as with old ones. And at this moment, that means for us, and actually if I look into the market generally, mostly support of USB 3.0 for the video and the audio. And then, as I said, for us, additional support of HDMI, or whatever, I should say, of screen content, which also goes over USB 3.0, and then is being provided as an HDMI output in the next generation, in the DL version of the CS-700.
Excellent. These guys are very engaged, and they're asking you the good questions. I love it.
That's right.
Another question is there any roadmap for an external interface or support for third-party control systems?
It's actually already in the product. So the CS-700 supports a full room control interface. So any control which you have through the web interface which we provide to you, or the buttons which you have in front of the unit, can actually be done over that control interface as well. The interesting part about this control interface is actually it is twofold. So number one, we support it over the IP connection into the unit, so telnet into the unit, and you can send the command line interfaces. But we actually built the interface in a way that it also works over the USB cable. So for partners who are actually saying that, hey, we have that application on that laptop, and it is already there, they can actually integrate our commands, any commands to our unit over the same USB cable, which is being used for the audio and the video already. So we actually open that not just for room control interfaces or room control systems as known, but we're also opening it up to the partners who really try to do things over the USB cable.
Excellent answer. Ready for your next tough question?
Oh, yes.
Okay, what about, can I change the presentation content to something like an Excel spreadsheet?
So if you're using the display link to present within the room, the display link actually is just another output or another screen. The same way as you would switch from one screen to the other, you can do that with a display link screen, and then can decide whatever information you want to show on that screen. If you are talking about how do I share information, like we do today here with WebEx, right? And how can I, instead of sending my video screen, how can I send an Excel spreadsheet or screen content? That is actually not in the CS-700. That is actually in your UC application, right? So the same way as WebEx allows you to share content, that's how you would share a spreadsheet, even whether you're using a CS-700 or not.
All right, another question. I know that you're all deeply embedded with all the UC capabilities. So can you tell us what third party, like, so which programs will the 700 work with? Zoom and Skype, and it's probably easier for you to tell us which ones it doesn't work with.
The world is your oyster.
Yeah, exactly. I think the interesting part there is really because it is a USB device, we really don't care what UC application is behind it. Of course we care, but we will work with all of them as long as they allow a USB device to be the camera and the audio device, and all of them do. We see mostly, of course, the typical suspects, I would say, in the market, right? So nobody can get around Microsoft Skype. Zoom is for us a very big partner, very good partner who we work with. We know that customers are using it with WebEx, as we're doing here today. We have a lot of people using video with a Y, and what's the one?
Blue Jeans, maybe?
Blue Jeans.
Yes,
Yes, correct. Thank you. I wasn't. I'm not wearing one. Yeah, GoToMeeting to be open with WebEx. So it for us it doesn't matter. As long as we are a USB device and that application allows the USB device to be the audio and video device to provide that input to the UC application, we work with it.
And one thing I want to add to that, just from a business development and sales standpoint, we work very closely with the majority of these companies as well. So the companies that were just listed, Holger mentioned and touched on, Zoom, Microsoft, Citrix, GoToMeeting, so on and so forth. We work very closely from a testing and standardization. Holger mentioned the pixels that Microsoft likes to see for requirements from a certain camera. We work with them before the CS-700 was even a year out, and so on and so forth, to ensure that we're meeting the platform's expectations and those folks' expectations as well. And I think that's an important piece of this.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Real quick, let's launch another poll question, because I like that it gets us all engaged. Another question: what's the average budget that you all like to put on a huddle room? So if you could give us an answer to that, that would be awesome. And while everyone's answering that question, I have another one for you guys. That is, do you have a device that's compatible with the Microsoft Hub? And can you give us some details about it?
So, really from our standpoint, again, all of our devices, and what you mean by compatible, if you're talking about Skype for Business certified or Microsoft certified, or if you're talking about just compatibility, I think there's two separate questions. So all of our products are compatible with Microsoft products, whether it's Skype for Business or Surface Hub or Surface Pro or whatever it might be. If you've seen any of our booths at the trade shows or upcoming trade shows, we always use the Surface Pro laptops or the pads, whatever you want to call them, to power our products and our video products. So we do have a Skype for Business certified product, which would be the YVC 1000 MS. which is recently certified, probably about, I guess, maybe about a year ago. Yeah. And we are always working with Microsoft and are working with them from a CS-700 standpoint to look at certification and further down that road for other products of ours. But again, I think some people are very, very strung up on the idea of having only certified products, and other folks are okay with being compatible. It depends on who you are and who your client is. But all of our products are certainly compatible with Microsoft and their various different solutions.
Fabulous. What about security? Can you tell us about security? You've got a camera, you've got obviously beamforming mics. Tell us about the security impacts and how you handle that.
So there's several things for us right now. So of course it's a USB device. So as a USB device, you plug it in and it will show up as here's an audio device and here's a video device. We actually added a few features to our product which actually enable you to mute the audio in between and unmute it again. You see it actually muted right now. You see it unmuted now. Which actually is for us a simple press of a button. Or actually for people who don't believe in electronics, there's also a privacy door which closes in front of the camera, which would do exactly the same thing. So we actually put features into place to actually allow to ensure that you feel private and secure in your room. The interface on front of the unit shows very clearly where the camera and microphone is active at the moment. So when they are plugged into a USB on a computer, they could theoretically be sending audio, just depending on what the application is. But you actually see very clear on the front of the unit whether the microphone and the camera is actually active right now or whether they are muted. And therefore you have privacy in the room. So that's actually covered through the user interface.
And I have to say, I love the door. The door that comes down in front of the camera. Like, for all the technology I love in the world, I love that door just to be 100% sure.
Yeah. It was a very big request, a very big client request. A lot of our clients really want that door. You know, their end users demand having the ability. They don't trust just the mute capability that Holger just demonstrated. They want an actual physical shutter. Yeah. So
I love it. Well, here's a great question, and this is one from Jeff, and I think this is fabulous. He's asking about, you know, now that we're all doing USB with this, do you have any suggestions for how to extend USB? Anything you prefer? What's your suggestion to help us out there?
Okay, great question actually. So the interesting thing there is, so as we are using USB 3.0, actually as part of the development, we did a big analysis in our QA department of USB 3.0 extenders currently in the market. And I would say of a list of 10, 15 USB extenders we started off with, at the end of the day, our QA department came back and said there are 2 that we can recommend and which actually provide real USB 3.0. Most of these extenders, some of them actually failed on the box already when the box said USB 3.0 compatible but don't plug a camera in. And that is there was seriously one of the boxes which said that on the outside. So we learned that a lot of these extenders are not really USB 3.0 compatible. We actually list 2 in our documentation, the 2 which I just said our QA department came through and said these are good extenders. The problem with them right now is there are about 5 to 10 meters. That is the maximum which you get out of them. We are also in the process, and we can't say anything yet on how good or how bad these extenders are. There's a new extender coming out which is going to use a Cat 6e cable, which will allow you to go up to 300 feet. We are still anxiously awaiting to get that in our hands so that we can test it, because if that works, that will actually give a lot of people very good results. And we are also looking into fiber optic solutions. whether there's anything out there which actually supports USB 3.0. So stay tuned on that. We will absolutely provide a list of products which we have tested successfully and which we see working once we have tested them.
Excellent. Good to know. I'm gonna launch one more poll question. Which technologies do you all prefer in your huddle rooms? Do you like using BYOD? Everybody brings in whatever they want, or do you prefer to have a dedicated PC in the room? So I'm gonna let everybody answer that. And I know we're running out of time, but if you guys don't mind, because we have so many great questions, can I hold you for just a couple more?
Of course, you have us, yep.
Excellent. So one question is, can you tell us about the warranty on the CS-700?
Yep, so it comes with a standard 1-year warranty, as do most of our products. So that will be continued with the CS-700.
Excellent, good to know. What about training? Do we have any training that we should consider before we start installing the 700?
So the product comes with documentation, and as Holger has mentioned a few times, the product, when we first started designing it, the idea was an easy installation, an easy to use product, set it and forget it, for the lack of using a better, less used term than that. But you know, it's really, the idea is you can actually have one person put this product up and install it pretty relatively easily, and it's only a few cables, right, to the monitor and back to the desktop. You know, as Holger had mentioned, you know, there are some advanced features. There's the service application and a web application that you can hook the unit or set it on the network and set up some SNMP traps, et cetera, et cetera. So there are certainly some advanced features, and we have local resources in the field that can certainly help you out. We have some field engineers and local sales folks that can certainly come on site and walk you through a training, or myself and Holger are always here for assistance as well. So there's various different resources that you guys can take advantage of, as well as Starin certainly has some sales folks in the field that are aware of the product as well, and certainly can give you an educated
and have been trained
on it and have been trained on it. Yes. So
I know my Starin team is more than happy to jump in and answer any questions that anybody has. So last question for you. Field of view of the 700, and what about resolution for video?
Okay, so the field of view is 120 degrees. That's what I mentioned earlier, that even somebody sitting close to the wall and close to the display is clear in the image. That's what we're doing right now here. The resolution is HD, so 1080p. We do send 1080p stream. Our image sensor has a higher resolution than 1080p. We do support electronic PTZ within the camera, so you actually can zoom in, pan and tilt, and still stay with a real 1080p image based on the pixels. But so 1080p is a format which we are sending. And as you know, most of the UC applications behind it can't even handle 1080p and are actually compressing that further down to 720p or even less.
You guys, you have been fantastic. I totally appreciate you spending time with us and answering our questions. I believe that perhaps Mr. Weber is going to give away a prize with y'all. Neil,
oh yeah, man, somebody's house is going to sound terrific.
I'm jealous. Mike did doing it, didn't he?
I know. I want one too.
Holger, no.
Our winner is Jeff Thiessen. Congratulations. You have won the Yamaha YAS-207.
And I think he's sending us all an invite for a barbecue with some great audio.
We will be there. There's still some good Olympics left, and it'll sound very, very good.
Congratulations.
Well, fabulous job, you guys. We really, really appreciate you joining us. We love this format, and it's clear that our customers love it too. So we'll be doing more of these, and thanks for being so gracious with your answers and so forthcoming with everything. Melissa, anything else that we need to cover for our people?
You know, again, thank you to the team from Yamaha Revo Labs for being very willing to take on any question we might throw at them. And, you know, this has been a great event. I appreciate everybody for attending. And we hope to see everybody next time.
That's for sure. And if we didn't get to your question, we will answer those, right, Melissa?
Yes, sir. We will
Okay.
be answering the questions. And if for some reason somebody missed this event and they'd like to catch up, it will be posted on the Stern website as well.
Perfect.
Most
Thank you, guys.
excellent. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.